Do Jehovah Witnesses still care about the Bible? Hell no. Hell no, they don't. Because if they did, it would be plenty of witnesses leaving this organization by not by the hundreds, not by the thousands, but by the millions. By the millions. Now, one thing that woke me up, right, is I started to realize that this organization is run more by what men say, not what the Bible says. It depends on how the elders feel about you. Oh, we'll kick you out. We'll kick you out this organization in a heartbeat if we don't like you. When you have a judicial with the elders, it's supposed to be at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, it's supposed to be about you and God. But somehow, some imperfect elder gets to be the middleman, and he dictates as to how repentant you are. The Bible says that God forgives, right? God forgives. The elders say, we forgive if we like you. If we don't like you, bye-bye. We will see you in a year or two. Now, I've also spoken about Jehovah's Witnesses out in service, right? And I love bringing this up because I hope that there are witnesses watching this video, because this organization, this Jehovah's Witness organization, one thing I respected about it growing up is that back in the day, when witnesses went preaching, door knocking, they had the Bibles in their hands. Because back in the day, it was more of a Bible-based religion back in the 80s and 90s, before it became a digital organization, right? Before JW.org, but before people had their iPads and whatnot on stage. I'm talking about back in the day when brothers had their hard case Bibles in their hands. Reading the Bibles in their hands on the platform. That doesn't happen anymore. Now they just open up their laptop or the iPad and boom. Everything is digital, right? But I respected the fact that Jehovah's Witnesses, they had the Bibles with them. They were reading Bible scriptures, when they were knocking on people's doors, trying to convert people. They were more sincere back in the day. But as I mentioned in my last video, the Bible is now obsolete. If you're a Jehovah's Witness, you could disagree all you want, but this is no longer a Bible-based organization. It is obvious, more so than ever, that this is nothing more than a publishing company. It's a man-made organization. It's a man-made, money-making organization. The only thing it's selling is pipe dreams. Paradise pipe dreams. That is never going to happen. That's the only thing that's being sold. It's false hope, right? But I respected the fact that back in the day, Jehovah's Witnesses, when they would preach to people, they had the Bibles on it. They had the Bibles with them. They would open up, to certain scriptures. And today, fast forward to 2025, if you have any questions, if you were to approach a Jehovah's Witness standing in front of a cart, they would say to you, if you have any questions, go to jw.org. That is a slap in the face to all the old school JWs who was knocking on people's doors at 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning with the Bibles in their hands. How do you go from that? And let's keep in mind, if you're a Jehovah's Witness watching this, how do you go from preaching with the Bible? And keep in mind, the Bible is supposedly inspired by God. How do you go from something that's inspired by God, and instead of going forward you witnesses, but instead of going forward, you go backwards and you stand in front of a cart and you direct people with questions to jw.org. You direct them to jw.org, a website run by a group of men who are not inspired by God. So you're going from the 90s, where you had the Bible, which is inspired by God, supposedly. You go from that to fast forward 2025, where people, Jehovah's Witnesses, are standing in front of carts with pointing to jw.org, a group of men, once again, that are not inspired by God. Hence why I say this organization is not Bible-based at all. Not at all. It's whatever the group of men say, the governing body leaders say. It's whatever they say. It's not about the Bible. Because the Bible says plenty of things that contradict what the governing body leaders say. And at the end of the day, Jehovah's Witnesses will always listen to the governing body leaders. Always. And it's sad that, like I said in the beginning of this video, right? If Jehovah's Witnesses cared more about the truth, right? Their Bible-trained conscience, would get to them. Because they know deep down inside, Jehovah's Witnesses know that these things are not added up. All this new light, all the new doctrines is not making sense. Like I said in the past videos, God does not change, right? But the problem is, I'm an overthinker, I'm a critical thinker. The problem is, when I really thought about it, I said to myself, how come there's still millions? It's so obvious now that this is not the truth. How come there's still millions of people worshiping this organization when it's so obvious that this is no longer a Bible-based organization? Sorry, a Bible-based religion. It's a man-made organization. But yet, there are still millions locked in. I said, how? Why? How? How can a corrupt organization like the Jehovah's Witnesses, how can they still be around for so long, right? But it comes down to the pipe dreams. People, Jehovah's Witnesses, are still holding on to paradise, even though deep down inside they know that paradise should have been here. You can't keep preaching about the end of the world and then the end of the world doesn't come, and now your life is passing you by. Your 20s are now turning into your 50s, and then your 50s turn into your 80s. Next thing you know, you're 6 feet under. Your whole life passed you by, right? You've been waiting for paradise. And it's sad that Jehovah's Witnesses, they keep holding on to this paradise dream while their precious life is passing them by. Your life is passing you by, and you don't even know it, because you keep thinking paradise is right around the corner. And I keep reminding witnesses that you cannot find the two words paradise, earth in the Bible. The word paradise is found, I believe, don't hold me to this, but I believe it's found 4, maybe 5 times in the Bible. And if you look at the entire context for what it is, you will see that it is talking about a heavenly paradise, not a figurative paradise, not a physical paradise, but a heavenly paradise. Jesus never spoke about people living forever on a paradise earth. You won't find it in the Bible. You will not find it in the Bible. But I go back to what I said before. How come there are not millions of people waking up? Because millions of people are so reliant on these governing body leaders that if these governing body leaders were to disappear and thin air, the Jehovah's Witnesses, the rank and file, they wouldn't know what to do, because they rely on the governing body leaders for everything, literally for everything. If grown men in their 50s, 60s, 70s needed permission from the governing body leaders to grow facial hair, then that tells you everything you need to know. If grown women needed permission to wear pants, then that tells you everything you need to know about this organization. The rank and file Jehovah's Witnesses are so reliant on the governing body leaders that the Bible really is obsolete. This is no longer a Bible-based religion. It's whatever the governing body leaders say. It's whatever they say. They are running the show. They're running the show. But millions and not millions, every Jehovah's Witness, every single Jehovah's Witness should be out the door right now. Because it is more evident as each day, week, month, year passes that this is not the truth. This is nothing more than a man-made organization. That's all it is. Nothing more, nothing less. Nothing less. Nothing more, nothing less. A money-making, man-made organization. But shouldn't this be about the Bible? And if you are a Jehovah's Witness watching this, I want to end this video by saying you have to be more aware of the distractions. Remember, the end game is supposed to be paradise, right? Always. That's the end game. That's why Jehovah's Witnesses are in that religion, because they believe that paradise really is right around the corner. So if paradise really is right around, if that's the case, right? If paradise really is right around the corner, then who cares if Jehovah's Witnesses can now toast, raise a glass and toast? Who cares about that? Who cares about beds? Who cares about pants? Who cares about all these minor details? All these things that really it really don't matter. It shouldn't matter. If we're in the end times, supposedly, right? Who cares about these minor details about people being able to raise a glass and toast? When in reality, they should be talking about go bags, preparing for Armageddon, the Great Tribulation. That should be on. That should be the highlight. That should be the topic every meeting, every single week. Guys, be on the watch any day now. Oh, paradise is right around the corner. That should be spoken about every single week. If this really was the truth, if paradise really was right around the corner, if paradise really was about to happen, that would be the highlight of. That would be the topic. That would be the discussion every week. Guys, any day now, have your bags ready. Let's prepare for Armageddon. We're in the very end. This is it, guys. Brace yourselves. But you see, they keep Jehovah's Witnesses distracted with things that, who cares about beards? Who cares if Jehovah's Witnesses can now glass their toe? Who cares about that? Shouldn't this be about the Bible? Shouldn't this religion be about God? About Jesus? But yet they want to distract witnesses with all these things because they know that witnesses are getting tired of waiting for paradise. Because witnesses know deep down, like I said before, they know paradise should have been here. If you're a Jehovah's Witness over the age of 40 and you was born and raised in this religion, I know you're tired right now. You are tired, you're pissed off because you put your whole life on hold and paradise still did not happen. Where's paradise? That should be the number one question on every Jehovah's Witness mind right now. Where is paradise? But you see, the governing body leaders, they distract from the Bible. This is no longer a Bible-based religion. They distract from the Bible. And keep in mind, the Bible says, don't add, don't take away. So how come there's new light that's not in accordance to the Bible? This new light that is given from men, all these instructions, this new light, these new doctrines is from men. You won't find this in the Bible. The Bible never says to sacrifice your life and not take any blood. The Bible says not to consume blood, not to eat blood, not to digest blood, but it never says to not take blood that could save your life. It never said that. Remember, don't add, don't take away. And that's exactly what these modern day Pharisees do. This Jehovah's Witness religion is no longer Bible-based. It should be obvious to every Jehovah's Witness that this is nothing more than a money-making, man-made, pipe dream organization. Love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.